Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. How's it going, Josh?
Good, Wilson. How are you?
Okay, the last few
Good to
years, I'm
see you.
saying, oh, this is not the Josh we know from back in the day. He's going for anything. Obviously, for one place, he's playing a killer. Now he's playing an action star. What led you to say taking on the project? What led you to say yes to taking on this project?
I am just always trying to do things that are going to be surprising for an audience. And this film felt surprising to me, both from like my own perspective, I guess, from what I've done in the past, but also just so many people try to pull off, I think, what Jim pulled off making this film, and not many people are able to do it. An action comedy is really hard to do. The comedy, first off, very difficult. And we led with the comedy, but then the action sequences, we had this amazing stunt team that worked on The Raid and worked on all sorts of other great action movies. And we knew we were gonna have our work cut out for us. We only had 25 days to shoot it. And I was doing my own stunts, and I haven't done stunts in a long time. So it was a huge undertaking. And for me, that challenge is always what I'm looking for when I'm picking a film. That along with it being unique. And so this was the perfect situation for me as an actor.
Before we get into the stunts, in regards to the comedy, do you see yourself having any funny bones?
Do you not? Do you not see me having any funny bones?
You know,
I feel like I was pretty funny in it.
you
I've
know.
done some comedies in the past.
So when you do this and you're reading it, at any given time, do you say, "Can we go again? I don't feel the joke in here," or you just say, "Hey, first take, I got it."
Yeah. No, no, no. There's always, I mean, it's not a play, we can go back and do a second take. We definitely, we did it as many times as we needed to in order to get what we felt like we needed, but we didn't have extra time. There was no, like, shooting something of this scale in 25 days is crazy. It doesn't get done. And we were able to pull it off, I think, just barely. And Jim really put it together in a beautiful way. So it's one of the most entertaining films, I think, out there. And I think I'm very proud of it. I hope people go see it in the theaters.
Now, in regards to the stunt, how much is it you, and how much is the stunt team? Is it 80% you, 50%?
The stunts for my character,
Yeah.
that's all me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. We had my stunt guy Clayton. He was amazing in helping us kind of get to a point where we had created the scenes, and he was doing all the previs stuff and making sure that it was going to work for me, and we had a really close working relationship. But the whole conceit of the film is that I do my own stunts, and that's why so I did my own stunts. There's one thing that I wasn't able to do because of timing and because they were afraid that something might go wrong, and I was getting thrown into that bar, the
Mhm.
glass bar. But everything else, 100% of it is me.
Now, obviously, having done this, what's your takeaway from doing a movie like this? What it's most of it is you. You're doing your own stunts. You carry this film that you can take on to whatever project you do next.
Well, the thing about doing stunts generally is that you're working with a great team of people, so that you feel like you're on a sports team or something, and that if one person isn't doing their job well, then the whole team fails and it doesn't work. So just I always feel like this when I'm making a film, but it was reiterated to me making this one that, like, it's so important to have that sense of community on a film set, and like a team working together in order to achieve the goal. And in this case, if we didn't work together really, really well, someone would get hurt, and that's obviously much worse than just getting a bad take. So yeah, I learned that you have to work really hard with the people that you trust around you, and they have to have faith in you. And yeah.
It's the certain time. It's a time where you can see movies where characters like your character go balls out crazy, and we want to enjoy it. So thanks for the performance. Thanks for the film. Keep it up. We'll talk down the road.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you.
Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. Hello, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I've been a fan of your work, obviously, from Battlestar to 24. So like it's always good to see you on big screen or small screen. What led you
Thanks.
to say yes to taking on this project?
The script in James Madigan. The script was adrenaline from the moment you start reading it. It was just absolutely insane and bonkers. And I loved who Catherine was. I loved that she was the straight man the breath of fresh air, if you will, the deep breath at times in the script. And when I spoke to him about it, he had a very clear vision for who she was and what he wanted this film to be. And he set out to accomplish something quite complicated on the budget that we had. And I'm just thrilled that he was able to do it. Audiences are loving this movie.
Yeah, when you think about an action comedy and the way this action is, it's balls out crazy. Let's just go for broke. At the end of the day, it's either whether it's the blood or the way the scenes are played out. You just kind of, okay, how far is he going to go? There's nothing left in the kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dynamic between Charithra and Josh is so wonderful to see on camera. I mean, they have such great chemistry.
No spoiler given, but did you not want to get into the action?
Of course, always. Wasn't in the cards for this one, but you never know what's going to happen.
But when you take on a film like this, and you've done different projects over the years, and with James and with a film like this, is there anything you're getting out of this that, skill set wise as an actor moving forward to whatever project you do next?
Oh my gosh. So every project has its set of complications and things that you can learn from the experience. This was what I'm used to. It was like back to my roots, that sort of guerrilla style filmmaking where you are solving problems on the fly. You can't think too much. It allows your spontaneity to really be like utilized. And I love that. I don't like downtime on set. I like to work. This led to that experience. This really, really made it better because that adrenaline you felt it on set. You felt it every day. We had so much to film and the energy was just electric the entire time.
There's something about your performances that you're like a chameleon, you don't know. And I think it has to do with the way your facial expressions are. They're like, is she on the right side or the wrong side of what we're seeing? Is that something that you think about when the characters you play?
It is absolutely. One of the things that I like about the women that I've played, they're complicated for sure. I always want to look like they have a secret. Like there's something that they're thinking that is outside of what's happening in front of you. I think it makes interesting character to watch because you never quite know who they are, what they're thinking, what they're going to do. It almost makes them the loosest cannon around because they're unpredictable. And so I love that. Thank you for noticing.
And here's the thing I always say, there's a lot of projects out there these days, TV, streamers left and right. What's going to get an audience to see this?
Oh my God. So we are kicking off like summer movies perfectly with Fight or Flight this Friday. This is adrenaline. This is a movie you have to see with audiences because you are going to sense that adrenaline from the audience, which is only going to make this project even better. I would go with a bunch of friends. And make a weekend out of it because this is one that you don't want to miss in theaters.
Hey, as I said before, it's good to see you on the screen. Congrats on the film. We'll talk down the road. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Hello, how's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Obviously, there's a lot to unpack with this movie. So when you came in, how much preparation did you have to do before we saw the stunts and all of that?
So actually, it was not a lot of time that we had to prepare, but I think I felt like the stunt team was so committed to making sure that I felt safe, and I would as many stunt trainings as I wanted, I was offered, and everyone was so gracious about it. But I think with a role like this, I had a lot of discussions with Josh and James, and what were the arcs, what were the dramatic beats, what were the intended outcome for every major scene. But I for the most part, I felt a lot of freedom, and I think as an actor, you also want the opportunity to figure things out on the day, in the moment. You want the opportunity to be spontaneous.
And that's the thing, when you're an actor, you got to be prepared for anything. We need you to sing. We need you to drive your stick shift.
Yes, and that's what's interesting. It's you have to be so prepared that on the day you can play.
Yeah, when they say, here's the issue. our stunt person's not here today. So can you go 100%?
Well, my goodness, I would say that like I just the stunt team are really the unsung heroes. They were so professional and so brilliant at what they do.
So what led you to say yes to taking us? Was it the script? Was it the location where it's being shot at? Was it working with Josh and James? Or was it everything all?
I think so many things, but I think for me, one of the main ones was like I just wanted the challenge of doing a different genre. I'd never done like action like this before, and I really wanted the opportunity to flex those muscles. As an actor, you're always trying to push the boundary, try new things. So yeah.
You're working most of your scenes with Josh. Obviously, he's been in the game in a long time. How was the banter like between you guys before you started shooting production?
Immediately, like Josh treated me like a little sister. Like immediately like teasing me and telling me off, but also like totally having my back. And he was so supportive. And like he's just such a sound dude. Like he's a good guy.
Not that you ever want to see a situation like that on a plane, but but when you do a movie set on a plane, you have a different thoughts now whenever you fly out.
I did. Oh my goodness. For like the first few flights I took after filming that movie, or this movie, I definitely like gripped onto my armrests. But and I definitely like think about how I would like survive various catastrophic situations. But then I like to remind myself, airplanes are the safest mode of transport. So.
And at the end of the day, as obviously as you mentioned, this is a world which you can stretch yourself. What's your takeaway from this, having done this action film, skill set wise as an actor that you can take to whatever project you do next?
Well, I won't be as intimidated by like the idea of having to do stunts. And like I actually kind of got hooked. Like I want to do more stunts and I want to do more action films and hopefully potentially a sequel for this. So who knows?
You see, that's the way we talk. Keep it
Yeah, we're
going. Hopefully, we'll see
manifesting.
more of you. So
Yeah.
have a good one and congrats on the role.
Thank you so much.
hmm Will Smiles from Black Film TV. Hey, James, how's it going?
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Good. It's funny enough, I'm in LA and I just recently watched the other day Meg
Ah,
because he played on TV. It's like, okay, it's another guilty pleasure. I was like, I don't mind that.
yeah,
So you never know. The residuals are going to keep coming in.
yeah. Well, that was second unit. They don't come to me. That's all
But
right.
here you are. You've got this fast action-paced film. It's your first film as a director, film wise.
Yeah.
What's that feeling like knowing you've got Josh doing this, all these stunts, and I'm sure there's some struggles for the insurance purposes, but what's the feeling like getting this off the ground?
It was a really great process because we had Josh as a partner from the beginning, and just where he wanted to go with it was so in sync with where I wanted to go with it. So sometimes that relationship, if you're pushing and pulling in different directions, it can be a problem. Then it was amazing with him, and from there, just getting it done. And it comes to the technical aspects of it, that for me, I just have a lot of experience with that. So I see that very clearly. So I sort of knew within the confines of the shoot and the resources we had exactly how much of it I could get, so I just made sure that it was all rooted in the story and the narrative and the characters in the right way and not just gratuitous, that we would only have what we needed with the time we had. And it was great. I mean, so often if you're directing second unit, every move you make, you have to go ask somebody else. And this just went so much easier and so much faster because I was like, yes, no, yes, good, bad, shoot, roll camera. It was.
This is an action. Go ahead. This is an action comedy, and that's not always easy to pull off.
Yeah.
So like, it's one thing you're directing scenes, but you got to make the jokes that come in between that make it stick. What's that feeling like? Was there any challenges when you're directing something that goes, I don't know if it works or not, when you're working
Right.
with the screenwriters?
Right. You know, I kind of see life like an action comedy all the time. In a way, I'm walking down the street and be like, oh, it'd be funny if that guy tripped and fell and then something. I don't know. I kind of like it. It comes to me fairly naturally. Like I've tried to, whenever I write, it just comes out that way anyway. I didn't write the script, but a lot of times when you're getting into blocking out action scenes,
what the reality is in front of you kind of takes over from where the script left off. So the script gave us this incredible palette and this attitude and amazing things like the pilot and the chainsaw, like all those things were there. And then within the confines of what you can actually do, you just find those moments where you can, you know. So you get together with the stunt guys and just start building it. And like our stunt coordinator, Alon Musi, was just, I told him about the comedy of it. I told him about the absurdity of it. You know, it's grounded, but like a little bit off the ground kind of thing. And we just developed things together that really leaned into it. And I know if we were laughing, then you kind of hope everybody else will. And I just watched it with an audience and it was like, oh my God, it's working for them. So, you know, fingers crossed it'll work with a wider audience.
One last thing, you know, what's your takeaway now that you're in front of the camera, the number one option? Obviously, as you mentioned before, you don't have to go to somebody else. You know, what's your takeaway moving forward? Like what you got right, what you got wrong, what will you do different?
Yeah, wow, good question. You know, I think that the thing that we got right was always knowing that the action scenes are just, they were always considered secondary to making sure that we just track a great story and a great character that we are getting people to invest emotions in, because then everything else kind of falls into place from there. Something I wouldn't do, most of them I probably can't say. I probably wouldn't do a test screening with lots of really expensive music that I can't afford and get attached to it. I would definitely look to not volunteer to do a lot of the visual effects myself. I think that's just a problem because it winds up being a lot of work, and we should leave that to the professionals. Yeah, you live and learn in a lot of micro ways, I think. So yeah, I think that would cover it.
Hey, congrats on this film. Looking forward to see what you do next. Have a good one.
Thank you.